This is the Ariel Atom 4RR and it's the most extreme Atom yet. It's based on the already wild Atom 4R, but this isn't just a gentle tweak, it takes the Atom to a whole other level altogether. Power rises from 400 to 525 brake horsepower, which together with a curb weight below 700 kilos, helps propel the 4RR from 0 to 100 in just 5.1 seconds. It's also packed with motorsport grade hardware, which helps explain why it starts at £208,000 before tax. Today I'm going to be driving this car as well as the original Atom and meeting Simon Saunders, the founder of Ariel, as it celebrates a significant milestone with its maddest car yet. The 4RR marks 25 years of the Atom and a quarter of a century of production for one of Britain's most original car makers. During that time, Ariel has also built the Ace motorbike, the all-terrain Nomad, developed the electric hypercar, and even created an e-bike.
But it all started with this, the original Ariel Atom, when a guy called Simon Saunders set about making a car the likes of which we've never seen before. And he did it from that hive of automotive innovation, Crewkern in Somerset. Now, to be honest, this steel exoskeleton still looks absolutely insane all these years on, and it still defines the Ariel driving experience. You watch the wheels turning left and right in front of you, the pushrod suspension is all completely exposed. You don't just feel this car driving down the road, you actually watch it as well. Ariel is synonymous with Honda power these days, but this car actually gets the Rover K-Series engine, super lightweight, all aluminium, and wait for it, produces just 120 brake horsepower and its lowest state of tune. This one actually gets 140 brake horsepower, and that is still plenty in a car weighing just 450 kilos. This driving experience really is just like nothing else. This car is completely alive. The steering wheel is really small diameter steering wheel, just fizzes in your hand. You can feel all the vibrations through the seat, so you feel completely connected to the driving experience and to the outdoors. Really nice little snicky gear shift, nice suck of induction as you change gear. Oh, it's so cool to be back in this car. It is a very different beast to the 4RR we're about to drive today.
I first came down here in summer 2002 in Ariel's earliest days, when I was a scriptwriter and an occasional presenter on a TV programme called Driven. I was working with a great guy called Bill Thomas, and we drove down together from Milton Keynes in an Atom that belonged to Bill's friend. Now, I've driven a good few Ariels since then, but today is just the second time I've met Ariel founder Simon Saunders. I'm very much looking forward to catching up. Simon.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you.
Long time.
It's been a long time, it's been 24 years.
Really? Last time we met, we were working out of what was originally my design studio, which turned into a workshop, which turned into our manufacturing facility, which was in a village 2 miles away next to my house.
So when you first started out, what are your memories when you first started working and building Ariel?
At the time, we were just trying to prove that you don't need a monster engine, you don't need a monster car, you don't need monster wheels. I guess you go on belief and a lot of optimism. So when we launched the first car, it was the right time for it. The track day thing was just beginning to really take off. Yeah. And I think people were, as they are now, looking for something different. One of the challenges with the very original car, the LSC, was that actually it would have been too expensive to make in production. Yeah. Because it used a lot of race parts. So it was actually trying to get that mix of the components and the technical things right, but also doing it at a cost-effective price. I certainly went into it having written off all the development costs and time. When we sold the first car,
we were in profit.
Right.
For, you know, mentally,
Yes.
if you like.
Yeah.
We were the right place at the right time. It was the right car.
So where is the business now? What's the score now with Ariel?
We haven't got any aspirations to be Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be a big company. There are things you can do as a small company, which you can't do as a big company. We can act very quickly. We're very lithe and agile as a small company. Our aspiration is still to grow, but retain those advantages that we have as a small company and play on those. Maybe some low volume companies have gone wrong in the past, is trying to be Porsche. We can make up to about 100 cars a year here, but we are creaking at the seams. We've got 35 people at the moment. I think our optimum size would be probably building 200 to 300 cars, maybe a few more.
So now you step back from the business, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I tend to concentrate on the R&D, design. I come in and fiddle around and annoy people sometimes, but Henry runs the business on a day-to-day basis, and these guys look after it really well anyway, so.
Yeah. So if I had come down here 24 years ago and told you that in 24 years you're going to be building an Atom with 525 brake horsepower, what would you say to me?
I'd say you're completely mad.
Oh my God, this thing is just such a huge step on over the original Atom. But you know what? That essence of Atom is still absolutely here. You couldn't be driving anything else. The balance, everything you feel, the whole vibe of this car is absolutely faithful to the original. And actually, I was a little bit nervous before I strapped in, but my first impressions aren't that this is some kind of wild animal that wants to pitch me off the road and kill me. It's actually how mature and polished it feels. I think the key to that is the suspension, which is really interesting versus the original Atom. It is much, much calmer. Got a real kind of sophistication, compliance. It's beautifully damped. Body control obviously is superb, and the way it kind of flows even with tricky cambers. The steering is very, very responsive, so it could feel nervous, but it doesn't because it feels so kind of glued to the road. So it's a similar story with the rear damping as well. It's very, very compliant, and that gives you confidence to push in a car that has an awful lot of horsepower.
The chassis is also key to just how exploitable the 4RR feels. It runs Öhlins dampers with compression and rebound control, forged alloys with track-focused Yokohama tyres, and the largest AP racing brake package Ariel could fit. Thankfully, there's traction control and ABS too, both adjustable through multiple levels with the option to turn them off altogether.
I tell you what, the traction, how can it be really good? But it is. You've got traction control, which I've got in quite a liberal setting, but it's still on there. It's still helping me. We've got these AP racing brakes, which are absolutely superb. Pedal feel on them is amazing, and they stop this car just instantly. And because we've got the Öhlins dampers, it doesn't dive or feel kind of squirrely. Beautifully, beautifully compliant and composed as you brake. We've also got the sequential gearbox, of course. That works really well. You don't have to use the clutch, but I think a little dip a lot of the time just helps smooth them out. The shifts are so quick. So if I'm in fifth now, fourth, totally smooth, third. Now if I go back up without shifting, without dipping the clutch, a little bit more of a jerk you probably saw then. So I've generally been going in the clutch a little bit just to smooth those shifts out.
At the heart of the 4RR is the K20 engine from the previous Honda Civic Type R, but here almost everything has been re-engineered, upgraded and finely balanced, turning a 300 brake horsepower Turbo 4 into a hand-built dual with 525 brake horsepower.
The other thing is how benign this engine actually is. For a 2-litre making such a lot of power with a lot of turbo boost, it comes in really progressively. I mean, obviously it's extremely quick, but I don't feel scared dipping into it, and that's partly because I am in the first of 3 maps, so we need to experiment with the other maps as well, and maybe I'll be slightly more measured about just how benign this car is then, but in this map 1, it is a very, very approachable car. I mean, on the road, you don't need more than this first map, but let's try it anyway. Woohoo! What am I saying? I mean, you know, it's insane. It is insane. You can feel the extra power. It is pretty monstrous, but it's still coming in very progressively. You can still ease into it and feel what you're doing with it. I think sometimes this second map, the throttle is a bit edgier. This first one is still very responsive. I think the reduced response is sometimes better. Now, I haven't been in the third map at all. This is the first time I've actually gone to a third setting. Oh my God, it is a lot more vicious in the third setting. I do not know if I'm man enough on the road to dip into all that. It's oh oh my God, it totally picks up its heels in a fraction of no time at all. Wow, it is just straight in there. That is pretty vicious. Let's do a flat shift. First gear. Oh. Intense doesn't cover it. That is really full on, but it's still gripping, it's still biting the tarmac. Definitely engineered to deal with that kind of performance. The way that power comes in is just so instant. I'm gonna just knock it back to the second setting. I think that's the sweet spot in conditions like this on the road. Yeah, definitely gonna need to lie down after this.
If you're enjoying our videos and want more of car, it's well worth subscribing to our magazine. Every month we deliver the most in-depth features on the latest and greatest cars, stories of our adventures spanning the globe, and cut through the noise to give you the inside line. By subscribing, you'll save money on shop prices, never miss an issue, and enjoy delivery right to your door, which is free if you're in the UK. Simply visit greatmagazines.co.uk/car to check out our latest offers.
Now, Ariel's tagline is serious fun, and I think that pretty much sums it up. It's definitely serious. You know, I think the last time I visited 24 years ago, I just couldn't have conceived that Ariel would take the Atom as far as this.
And Ariel will happily take the 4RR even further. You can specify plated differential, electronically adjustable dampers, a motorsport spec roll cage, and even onboard air jacks, turning an already extreme track car into something even closer to a race car.
I think what's interesting as well is that composure versus the regular original Atom. When you tip it into corners fast, because the limits are higher, it's easier to drive in some ways, and that's not to take anything away from it. It's not easier in a bad way, but you can pitch it into corners and enjoy them more, I think. And it's still got that playfulness, but it's more locked down. It's just more predictable. That the chassis is staying very, very composed all the time. That balance is still there, but it's just a whole other level of finesse from what the original Atom was. But what a machine this is. It's so together, it works so well with all this power. It doesn't feel insanely overpowered. And I imagine that third map, you know, you've got the predictability of a track where you really want to push. It would be absolutely insane, so intense. I think here, second or the first map is where I feel comfortable, and with these brakes, with the suspension, it all works together. That maturity, that polish I was talking about. This car is nowhere near as intimidating as I thought it would be. It's a really polished and impressive car. It's so nice to see how far they've taken the Atom, just how good it is.
This car is just so enjoyable to drive. It's everything the Atom has always been. It's raw, engaging, gloriously simple, and now distilled into its most visceral form. But it's also so much more approachable than any car weighing so little and producing so much power has any right to be. I have loved every second of it. So 25 years on then since you founded Ariel, How does it feel to see this car, see this ultimate kind of iteration of the Atom?
One of the things we always enjoyed was being a bit of a giant killer. So for a tiny little company in Somerset to be taking on the really big names in performance cars is really satisfying, and winning as well.
Where do you think you'll be if I drop back down here in 24 years?
It probably won't be me you're talking to. I'd like to think there's always a place for the Atom. I have a theory that actually, a bit like the horse 125 years ago, in 25 years' time the Atom might be one of the only cars you can actually drive.
Yeah, I think what's really nice to return down here, 24 years later, and not just to enjoy this car, which I have, is to see how far Ariel has come. And Simon's joking about saying he's not going to be here if I drop down another 24 years, but what a legacy he is leaving for Henry and Tom to carry on, and for everyone who loves driving and loves the purity of driving. I think this is such a special car, and I'm so glad that Simon has been able to make that work and given us the Ariel Atom.
I'm looking forward to dropping back down here in another quarter of a century and seeing what Ariel is up to.